say hi.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Natalia, and I'll be a social worker today. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm Aries.
Hi, Aries. Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
What brings you in this morning?
So today I want to talk about problems and challenges that I'm having at my job. So I have two jobs. I work at a nursing home doing dietary, and I just got hired at Talbot House in June, working with adolescent girls who have mental health problems, substance abuse problems, running away, stuff like that. So I got hired in June. It was such a long process that they like at the interview they told me that I was hired. I went to human resource that same day and they did scan my ID, did my background check, and had my diploma, took a copy of all of that, and then I didn't hear from them for like a couple of months. And it was so much back and forth for such a long process and very unorganized that it kind of had me like, do I want to work for them? But I had another job, so I wasn't really that pressed. It was like if they call, they call. If they don't, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally called me, and I started in October.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to work there, and especially with this population, because as a social worker, I do want to work with adolescents.
Okay.
Well, I want to work with at-risk youth. So I really didn't know if that was babies, infants, toddlers, elementary, grade school, high school. I really didn't know which age group or in which type of setting, as far as like child protective services,
Mm-hmm.
foster care, or like a residential facility like I'm at now. But the experience is always good. So I'm working with adolescent girls it'll be aged 14. Right now I have 14, 15, and 16-year-olds. It's about 9 girls right now. And it is a very big challenge for me. And I haven't been there long, almost 2 months, and I'm starting to feel like, do I want to be a social worker? It's pretty extreme for me to think like, do I want to be a social worker? But I really am like, do I want to be a social worker? Do I want to work with this population, or do I want to work with these type of people with these problems? Like, because, but I think a lot of it comes from my coworkers who I work with in their training process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the coworkers that I work with. I feel like they're older than me. They're adult, and the way they act is pretty challenging. Let me give you an example of something that happened. So at the end of the night, we have to do a shift report.
Mm-hmm.
One person does that shift report. It's 3 of us there, and so we're trying to determine who's going to do the shift report. And they know I don't have much training on it. I'm not 100% comfortable with doing the shift report. But it's like a joke in the game to them. I'm like, so we're all sitting down playing cards. Like I'm playing with one girl, and they're two of my coworkers and then one of the clients, they're playing cards. So they're like, okay, let's see, we're gonna do the shift report. Let's pick a number 1 through 30, and Jay, shouldn't say name, but this client Jay will say, pick the number. But one of the coworkers already knew the number that the client would pick, because the client was like, if you know me good, like you should know me, then you already know what number I'm gonna pick. So I'm sitting there thinking like, this is a setup right here. Like, you already know the number. If y'all want me to do the shift report, just say, Aries, do you feel comfortable doing the shift report? Why do we have to go through all of this just to determine who's gonna do the shift report?
Right.
So I'm thinking right then and there, like, you already know the number. So I'm like, okay, well, how about client C choose the number, since you already know what number she's going to choose? So they're like, okay, well, let's do this. We'll pick a number 1 through 100, and we'll go based off of client J's number. And whoever get client J's number is out of it. They don't have to do the shift report. And then it's the other 2 coworkers, they'll have to pick a number again, and we'll go off the number based off of client C. And so the first person who chose the correct number got to choose who they wanted to do the shift report. And of course, both of the coworkers were going to say me, because that was the whole idea. They wanted me to do it instead of just saying, "Aries, do you feel comfortable? You want to do the shift report?" They played this whole game about it. So it ended up me doing the shift report, and I feel like I'm not 100% comfortable with it. I don't want to do it and miss out some information or whatnot. At least can y'all look over it behind me to make sure that I did it right? But they don't do that. They don't care. So that's one of the instances with problems that I have with coworkers. And then another thing is with the whole training process at the job. So I go through training at the job, and I just sat in the office, me and my supervisor, for like a week and a half, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically going over general stuff, not stuff specific to the job when I'm out on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
more general stuff like, all of these doors are locked, here's your keys to get in here. And then it's something we all learned a lot, being a social work student. Like one time we sat in the office for like 3 hours going back and forth. He was giving me like different scenarios of boundary crossings or confidentiality problems, and now like he'd give me a scenario and I'd tell him like, do I think it was a boundary crossing, what was the problem, what was the issue or whatnot. And that's all cool, fine and dandy, but it was nothing really to prepare me for when I got out on the floor. And I kind of already felt prepared in that aspect because I'm in school. I've been in school for social work, and I hear this every semester since I've been in school for social work. So one thing out on the floor is like you have to know the different rules. Like the girls are on a point sheet, so they get points. They can get positive points or they can get negative points. And then by like 6 o'clock. So this go from like. So say the point sheet starts today at 6 o'clock and it'll go again to the next day at 6 o'clock. And if they don't get all of their points between that time frame, once they start their privileges at 6:30, if they didn't get all the points that they have to get, then they don't get privileges such as being able to talk on the phone or being in the rec room watching movies or anything. They have to stay in. It's called a day room. They have to just stay in there. They pretty much, there's nothing to do in the day room. They want to be in the rec room. So one of my issues was with knowing, and it may seem like common sense, but knowing when to get them negatives, because some coworkers like let stuff slide. So then me as a new employee, it's like, do I let this slide or I'm new, so I need to do my job and do it correctly? And it's a lot of stuff that they let slide, and I'm sitting there thinking like, she should have got a negative for that.
So what I'm hearing is with the clients and then with the employees are letting, according to you, they're letting clients to get away with things. And if you step in and say something, it's kind of like I'm the bad guy.
Yes.
I'm the new girl on the block, and they may look at me a certain way or feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries. I've been getting away with this for this long, and now this new person is here. And she's giving me negative points for things that normally I can do. Okay.
That's absolutely what it is. And so my first few weeks there, I actually wasn't giving positives or I wasn't giving negatives because I was still just trying to get used to the feel of things and how everything was ran and how they do it, how they do stuff. So I wasn't giving negatives or I wasn't giving positive. And the second I started doing it, the girls are like, "You're mean, Miss Aries. You're mean, and you don't want to help us. And why are you here? You're just here to get a paycheck, and you're not really." And that hurt me because it's like that's what I'm in school for, and this is the exact population like at-risk youth that I want to work with. And so for them to say that, it's kind of like it hurt me, and especially because a lot of my other coworkers. I'm not going to say that they're there just get a paycheck and they don't want to help them, but I feel more passionate. I feel like I'm more passionate about it because that's what I'm in school for, and they're not. Like, that's just a stepping stone for, like a job that they're, something like I'm working at the nursing home, that's just something until I graduate. So I feel like this is a job like that for them, just something until they graduate, or just something to do now. But, so it's like, out of everybody here, no, I'm one of the people that really want to help you, and they don't see that. As soon as I give them a negative, they don't see that. And so they have this one thing that you have to do. You have to, if you give them a negative, it go -4, -12, -8. I mean -4, -8, -12, and they're on subsystem. So if they're on subsystem, they got to get like 50 points, like 50 positive points. And once they get out, so once they're on subsystem, they don't have any privileges until they get all those points. And it's not so that you get on subsystem and you get all your points back that same day. That's something's wrong there if they're getting all their points within the same day that they got on subsystem. It's like they're really not learning anything. But I don't feel like they're really, I don't know the word I want to use, but I don't really think that they're taking it in for and benefiting from what is intended to do for them. Because like when you give them a negative, say you give them a -4, they have the opportunity to gain their points back. So if they give them a -4, you can do, it's called a teacher interaction. And that's what the facility, that's their main teaching model, is called the teaching's family teacher model or something like that. So you give them a teacher interaction, and this is something you do every time you give them a negative. The client has to come to you, ask for a teacher interaction, and you basically just talk to them about the situation, what they could have did, what they did wrong, and what they could do better. And a lot of the girls are like, I don't care if you give me a negative. You get a negative, and then they'll be like, okay, well, can you do my teacher interaction? And they get their points right back. So what did they learn?
Nothing at all.
And like one of the girls, I gave her a negative, and by the end of my shift, she's like, can I do my teacher interaction? And she sat there the whole time like this, rolling her eyes, like not even paying attention to nothing I'm saying. She just wanted her points back.
Mm.
And so I just don't feel like they're really learning from that. And
Well, it sounds like that's frustrating to you. It sounds like it's very frustrating. You want to do your job, and because you're in school for social work and you're really passionate about what you do, you want to help children, but at the same time, the co-workers make it kind of impossible for you to enforce the rules the proper way because of their practices. It's like good guys, in a way, in a sense, the good guy against the bad girl. And you're actually, in essence, trying to be the good girl because you're trying to do the right thing, but in the eyes of the children, you're the bully. You know, you just want to get them in trouble, and you know, and to them, they're not learning anything if they're getting their points given right back to them. So I can definitely understand.
And then I just feel like one thing I try to, because I feel like I am too nice. So when I first started, I was nice as far, like I said, I wasn't giving them positives or negatives. I was just sitting back, really observing, and I feel like that's one thing I had to really find my way through, being nice. Because there are times when I let them off on something. I would just, instead of giving them negative, I would just talk to them about it, like, you know, you did this and you shouldn't do that. You could have handled it this way, and I wouldn't give them a negative. But now I feel like I need to tighten up,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard because I'm such a nice person, and but I know that's not benefiting them either. Trying to be the nice girl, I have to have a job to do. But I really, okay. Well, that's what I came in today, and
Well, Eric, it was great talking with you. We will schedule another appointment. Make sure you schedule with the receptionist up front. And we'll see you next week.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.